Have you guys ever gone and checked out the Lost and Found here at church? It's quite interesting actually to take a look through the bin and see what all has been lost over time. First things first, we have a camping chair. That's obviously been here a while. It's kind of falling apart, but there it is. There's a camping chair. And then we've got a hoodie with dog hair. That makes it so much more valuable. Got a water bottle, still has water in it. Also makes it more valuable. We have a coffee mug. Doesn't sound like there's any coffee in it. And then some hair clips, very important things, As well as old VBS crafts. I think those are probably garbage at this point. I probably should toss that when I'm done with this. So that's our Lost and Found bin here at church. Lost and Found bins are a great idea. It makes it really easy for people to find stuff that they've misplaced. If they know that, hey, I lost that at church, then they just go check the Lost and Found there. The sad thing is, a lot of these items have been here probably going on a year plus at this point. They're lost, not because they can't be found, but they're not worth finding. And all too often, we can end up feeling kind of like this coffee mug. Lost, broken, perhaps not even feeling like we're worth that much. Which makes me wonder, what am I worth? How valuable am I? So I brought a whiteboard down here, and let's just do some basic calculations. Let's find out what I'm worth, okay? So let's start with the fact that I'm wearing pretty good clothes today. I'm wearing even a shirt that has buttons on it, has a collar on it. That's got to be worth a couple hundred, right? So 200 clothes. Okay. And then we'll continue on with the fact that while I'm not wealthy by any stretch of imagination, I'm doing all right financially. I have a house, I have a car, but I'm not balling. It's not the fanciest car. It's not the fanciest house, so let's give that a value of 300. So stuff, 300. And then let's talk about my abilities, okay? I'm a person who is really capable when it comes to figuring out systems and mechanical things. I can look at something, get a good idea for it, figure out if it's broken, normally put it back together and make it work. Great mechanical aptitude. I'm hardworking, so that's really good. When it comes to things though like music and art, I'm not so hot there. In fact, I can't play any instruments, and I can sing all right-ish. So let's say 100. That's 100 for my abilities. Okay. And how about how I look, right? Kind of my characteristics. Well, I think I'm a pretty good-looking person. However, as I've gotten older, I have to admit I've gotten out of shape. I'm a little heavier than I used to be. So that's meh. But I am smart, believe it or not. I can figure. I'm not proving a very good example of the fact that I'm smart, but I can actually understand most things if I take the time to sit down and wrap my mind around it. Not the quickest at it, granted, but I can actually wrap my mind around things that normally make other people's head just about split. So that's positive. On the negative side of things, though, I can be really grumpy. And not only can I be grumpy, but I have like zero humor quotient. I am not a particularly funny person. I'm sure you guys have noticed that already. I try hard, but I am not a comedian by nature. I tend to be very serious, very to business. So 50, let's say. So there we go. Nope. 50. And that's 50 for looks and smarts. All right. right, now let's add this all up. 200, 300, 500, 600, 650. So total value is 650. All right. I don't know if that's good or bad, but we'll say that's the total value there. Is that how value works? Is that how much I'm worth? Well, I hope you understand the obvious answer is no. No, in fact, that's about the dumbest way you could calculate up your value, because it really doesn't matter. That's not how God assigns us value, and hopefully that's not how we assign one another value as people. It's not just a compilation, a list of, well, this is what I'm good at, and we assign arbitrary values to it. That wouldn't work well. It would actually create all sorts of problems in our life. And it would be problematic if we tried to assign our value that way, based on our ability, our looks, and we actually valued others that way, because we could end up really down on ourselves. Plus, we'd end up cutting people out of our lives because they just don't measure up. Or maybe we don't find them that interesting, even though they could be really amazing people who'd be a huge blessing to a huge blessing in our life if we would just give them a chance and just take time to get to know them. I'm so glad God doesn't value us the way the world might try to. In fact, that was a problem that was going on in Jesus' day. If you recall, we're looking at the parable of lost things, or parables of lost things. And the whole reason that Jesus tells the parable of the lost sheep, the parable of the lost coin, and the parable of the lost son is because the Pharisees at that time were people who had a list, right? And they had all sorts of ideas of what made a person a good person, a valuable person, whether they were able to follow all the rules and do all the right things. And they really looked down their nose on those lost, disgusting sinner people who Jesus was associating with. And so Jesus gives these parables as a way of helping them understand just how valuable people are to God, even lost people. So we're in Luke chapter 15, and we're just going to read 2 verses. Give me just a second to get there. I thought I had a bookmarker in, but apparently I didn't. All right, so here we go. Luke chapter 15, verses 8 through 10, so 3 verses. Or suppose a woman has 10 silver coins and loses one. Does she not light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? And when she finds it, she calls her friends and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost coin." In the same way, I tell you, there is rejoicing in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents. It's an interesting story, but you got to wonder, why does the woman care so much about losing one coin? I mean, she's got 10. There's 9 others that haven't been lost. Why does she worry about the one coin? Well, if this was simply a loony or a toonie, you'd probably be right. What's the big deal? But this coin actually represents a whole day's wages. So we're talking a coin that's worth $200 or $300. It'd be like losing your whole wallet. So at that point, it's worth tearing apart the whole house to find. Not only that, you have to understand that in that day and age, women didn't work jobs and get paid like they do today. So the woman doesn't have a way of easily replacing the money that's been lost. In fact, she probably would have gotten this as a wedding present from her dad. Because of all that, this coin is irreplaceable to her. It's incredibly precious, and when it gets lost, it's a big deal. As a result, she takes the time. She carefully checks the whole house out, searching systematically, getting out the flashlight, sweeping the floor until she finds it. And when she does, man, she goes and celebrates. She parties. And in fact, that's something that's kind of thematic throughout all 3 parables. When the lost thing is found, there's a celebration. And I think it drives home the point how much God loves and cares for people, and He values even those who are lost. It's worth celebrating when a lost person is found because they're that valuable to God. Through this parable and the other ones in the series, we get to see just how important people are to God, even those who are lost. Like the woman and the lost coin, Jesus values people. He values you and even those that you might be prone to undervaluing. When you're struggling to see your own worth and you're tempted to write people off as unimportant, please take time to remember this story. Remember the effort the lady puts into finding the coin. Remember how much she values it. And remember that God values us in that same way. Ask God to help you see yourself and to see others the way that He does. God values you, and He values those around us, even those who are lost. Bye for now, y'all.